And then we have here the Blightsteel Colossus. 11/11 Trample Infect. Welcome back to some Commander on Curve. My name is Pat, and today we are going into the jankiest of artifact decks ever. Yes, you can make her a CEDH deck, but this is the jankiest build of Breya, the Etherium Shaper. She is a white, blue, black, red legendary artifact creature, human, strangely enough. She reads, when Breya Etherium Shaper enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 blue Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying. Pay 2 to sacrifice 2 artifacts, any artifacts. Breya deals 3 damage to target player or planeswalker. Target creature gets -4/-4 till end of turn, or you gain 5 life. And she's a 4/4. This deck is absolutely wild. The mana curve is way off, but the way we win, primary combo, is to mill yourself until you have about 10 cards left and hope that you get to keep one of the big sorceries and bring back all of your enchantments, planeswalkers, and artifacts back to the battlefield and just cause extreme devastation. Let's get into it. First up today, the instants and sorceries. This is very budget friendly. It's with cards I had lying around, and I just wanted to make it kind of crazy, so bear with me. We have Divination. Draw 2 cards. One with the Machine. Draw cards equal to the highest converted mana cost among artifacts you control. We have some pretty big mana values for our artifacts, so this could be a big hit, or, maybe 4 cards, but still a good card. And here we go, our big card of the day. Triumphant Reckoning. Return all artifact, enchantment, and planeswalker cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. We're really hoping this resolves because this is a big combo piece. Null Elemental Blast. We got plenty of stuff that makes colorless mana. It's an instant, choose 1. Counter target multicolored spell or destroy target multicolored permanent. It's pretty good. Erebos' Intervention. We're going to have lots of treasures, so we can make this, benefit us by making the X 10 plus, maybe. So we can either give something -10, -10, gain 10 life, or exile up to twice 10, target cards from a graveyard. So essentially that last ability, we just double the X. Eviscerator's Insight. As an additional cost, cast a spell, sack an artifact or creature. Draw 2 cards. And it's got flashback. Usable. Unlicensed Disintegration. Destroy target creature. If you control an artifact, this also deals 3 damage to that creature's controller. Ignite the Beacon. We have some Tezzerets in here, so we want to find them. Search your library for up to 2 planeswalker cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. And a Masterful Replication. It's a 6-drop, but we can get 2 3/3 colorless Golem artifact creature tokens, or choose a target artifact you control. Each other artifact you control becomes a copy of that artifact until end of turn. That can go crazy, and I'll show you why. Coming right up. We're going to talk about some enchantments real quick. We have a Pariah that we just pulled last week. It's pretty cool, this artwork, and it's going to be comboing off with any of our indestructible artifact creatures. All damage that will be dealt to you is dealt to an enchanted creature instead. Now, if we're lucky enough and we get Stuffy Doll out, Stuffy Doll redirects damage dealt to it back to a target opponent. So, we put Pariah on Stuffy Doll, and whenever we get attacked, we let the damage hit us. And then it hits Stuffy Doll instead. And then it hits an opponent. So, pretty cool. I'm pumped to have it. Smothering Tithe, because who doesn't like getting treasure tokens? A lot of my buddies are greedy, so they'll let me have my treasures. And if not, worth a try. The Antiquities War. This is a neat card. Lore 1 and 2 say, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And then 3, artifacts you control become artifact creatures with base power and toughness 5/5 until end of turn. Another combo piece for our win conditions. Mechanized production. Enchant an artifact you control. You can target treasure tokens with this thing. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of an enchanted artifact. Then, if you control 8 or more artifacts with the same name as one another, you win the game. For 4 mana? Easy. Revel in Riches. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, create a colorless treasure artifact token. With tap it, sack it for 1 mana of any color. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more treasures, you win the game. So, with this and Mechanized Production, Smothering Tithe, we do have some pieces that get us very close to win condition without having to do any work. The Planeswalkers. Yes! Boom! Saheeli, Sublime Artificer. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, plenty of them, create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. More tiny token artifacts. We can sack to Breya to do damage, make something -4/-4, or we can gain ourselves some life. And -2, target artifact you control becomes a copy of another target artifact or creature you control till end of turn, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. We do have a Blightsteel and Darksteel Colossus in here, so we can make one of our tiny little artifacts, or even a Soul Ring, a copy of one of those big guys, and swing with it. Karn, Scion of Urza. His +1, reveal the top 2 cards of your library. An opponent chooses one, put that card into your hand, and exile the other with a silver counter on it. -1, you may put a card you own with a silver counter on it from exile into your hand. -2, create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with. This creature gets a +1/+1 for each artifact you control. That's going to get huge. Huge, huge. Tezzeret, Betrayer of Flesh. The first activated ability of an artifact you activate each turn costs 2 less to activate. +1, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 unless you discard an artifact card. Well, we don't mind our graveyard becoming full of artifacts. -2, target artifact becomes an artifact creature. If it's not a vehicle, it has base power and toughness of 4/4. -6, you get an emblem with, whenever an artifact you control becomes tapped, draw a card. So we have some card draw there. Tezzy Boy, Artifice Master. +1, create a Thopter token. Pretty cool with flying. 0, draw a card. If you control 3 or more artifacts, draw 2 instead. -9, you get an emblem with, at the beginning of your up end step, search your library for a permanent card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So we get to tutor whatever we want, battlefield it. He's going to live that long, but Tezzeret, Master of Metal. +1, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal an artifact card. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. -3, target opponent loses life equal to the number of artifacts you control. That could be a lot. This deck pumps out artifact tokens. -8, gain control of all artifacts and creatures target opponent controls. Another win con. And my favorite, Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge. Creature and planeswalker spells you cast have affinity for artifacts. So these and the creatures you're about to see soon have affinity for artifacts, and we're going to have a ton of them. So we're not going to be paying full price. Anyways, +2. This guy deals X damage to each opponent where X is the number of artifacts you control. You gain X life. So we have some life gain, some damage, all just for having artifacts. -3, return a target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. -8, exile the top 10 cards of your library. Put all artifact cards from among them onto the battlefield. So, a lot of artifact synergy. We don't mind them going to the graveyard, because we're going to bring them back and dominate. The artifacts, not creatures. We have here the Soul Ring, because why not? Y'all know what that does. A Ratchet Bomb. You can tap it to put a charge counter on it, or tap it, sacrifice it, destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost equal to the number of charge counters on the Ratchet Bomb. That little thing, diabolic. And we can turn that into a copy with Saheeli of Blightsteel Colossus. Thelwar Stone for some ramp. 1 color of anything our opponents control. A treasure map. This is a pretty neat card. Pay 1, scry 1, put a landmark counter on it. Then once you have 3 landmark counters, this flips into a colorless mana source, but you can sacrifice a treasure, tap it, and draw a card. So we get some card draw for all the treasures we're going to have. Microsync Wellspring, when it enters the battlefield or goes to the graveyard, you may search your library for a basic land card. put in your hand, then shuffle. Ichor Wellspring does the same thing, but drawing a card. Thought Vessel for no maximum hand size. Colorless Mana. Folio Fancies, one of those cards to help us mail ourselves. It says players have no maximum hand size, and you can pay money into this, or pay mana, tap it, each player draws X cards. Or we can pay 3, tap it, each opponent puts a number of cards equal to the number of their cards in their hand from the top of their library into their graveyard. So we can start milling ourselves. This is a key piece. Chaos Wand, because it does crazy stuff. Pay 4 and tap it. Target opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery card. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then put the exiled cards that weren't cast this way on the bottom of that library in a random order. Pretty cool. Let's play other people's decks for a little bit. Dark Steel Plate. It gives a creature indestructible, and it has indestructible itself. Equip 2. Encroaching Mycosynth. All non-land permanents we control become artifacts in addition to their other types. Same is true for permanent spells we control and non-land permanent cards we own that aren't on the battlefield. Turns every card we have into an artifact. Unwinding Clock. Untap all artifacts you control during each other player's untap step. That's cool because we have artifact lands, so we can untap those and have them be ready to, respond to things if we need to. Witchbane Orb. Enters the battlefield, destroy all curses attached to you. You have hexproof. Nevinral's Disc. Enters the battlefield tapped. Pay 1, tap it, destroy all artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. Little board wipe on demand. Thrawn's Temporal Gateway. One of my favorite cards from Dominaria. Pay 4, tap it. You may put a historic permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Imagine paying 4 for a Blightsteel Colossus instead of paying 11. Hedron Archive. Tap for 2 colorless mana, or pay 2, tap it, sag it, and draw 2 cards. And then we can bring it back and do it again. Forsaken Monument. Our colorless creatures get +2/+2, and whenever we tap a permanent for colorless mana, add an additional one. And whenever we cast a colorless spell, we gain 2 life. So we have lots of life gain, as evidenced by all of the artifacts. Neat card, Elbrus the Binding Blade. Costs 7. The equipped creature gets a +1/+0, and whenever it deals damage to a player, we unattach this and flip it. And it turns into this guy. It's a 13/13 with Flying, Intimidate, Trample. Whenever a player loses the game, put 13 1/1 counters on Withengar Unbound. I know it's a 7-drop, but it's easy to pull off. And last but not least, every artifact deck should have this, a Darksteel Forge. Artifacts we control have indestructible, but we can still sacrifice them to Breya to do stuff. So, that's the artifacts. Here are some of our utility creatures. We have here the Daring Archaeologist. When it enters the battlefield, you may return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. When you cast a historic spell, put a 1/1 counter on Daring Archaeologist. It starts off as a 3/3, but with all the artifacts we have, it's going to get big real fast. Padim Console of Innovation. Artifacts we control have hexproof. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control the artifact with the highest mana value or tied, draw a card. Wonder, because I think it's cool. As long as Wonder is in your graveyard and you control an island, creatures you control have flying. Really helpful. So you can sacrifice this, pitch it for whatever reason, get in the graveyard. And Urza. Big Daddy Urza. He's alright. When Urza, Lord High Artificer, enters the battlefield, create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature with this creature gets a +1/+1 for each artifact you control, similar to Karn's ability. But you can tap your untapped artifacts to add blue mana, and you can pay 5, shuffle your library, then exile the top card. Until end of turn, you may play that card without paying its mana cost. So, kind of a little bit of randomness, but we have some big game winners in here. Joyra, Weatherlight Captain. Whenever you cast a historic spell, draw a card. When she's out, every artifact we play gets replaced by a card from our deck. Deadeye Plunderers gets a +1/+1 for each artifact we control, and we can dump some mana into him, pay 4, so 2 in Dimir, to make a token, a treasure token. Shimmer Dragon, it's a 5/6 with flying. As long as you control 4 or more artifacts, this guy has hexproof. Or you can tap 2 untapped artifacts you control to draw a card. And Workshop Elders. Artifact creatures you control have flying. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target non-creature artifact you control become a 0/0 artifact creature. If you do, put 4 1/1 counters on it. It's pretty cool. Now this whole stack here is artifact creatures. So you saw some of our utility non-robot dudes. And before we get into these guys, I gotta take a quick drink. Oh, let's do it. We have here the Esper Sentinel, because why not? This guy essentially, whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell, each turn draw a card unless they pay X, where X is this guy's power. We are going to make this guy so big that no one can pay the X, and we get to draw cards. Steel Overseer, a 2-drop that we can tap to put a 1/1 counter on each artifact creature we control. Baleful Strix, 1/1 flying death touch. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. The Reality Chip. This is cool. You may look at the top card of your library anytime, and when this is attached to a creature, you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. Traxos, Scourge of Krug. 7/7 trample. It enters tapped, and it doesn't untap unless you cast a historic spell. So, we got plenty of them. 7/7 is lots of power. Myriad Construct, I just think it's cool. Kicker 3, if it was kicked, it enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it for each non-basic land your opponents control. When it becomes the target of a spell, it gets sacrificed, and we create a number of 1/1 colorless construct artifact creature tokens equal to its power. And then we sacrifice under Breya. Solemn Golem, when it enters the battlefield, we shoot it for a basic land. When it dies, we draw a card. Stuffy Doll, part 2 of the Pariah combo. When it enters the battlefield, choose a player. It's indestructible, and whenever it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to the chosen player. Tap it to do 1 damage to itself. Scuttling Doom Engine. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. When it dies, it does 6 damage to target opponent, and it's a 6/6. We're not paying full price for that. Thopter Assembly. The beginning of your upkeep, if you control no Thopters other than Thopter Assembly, return Thopter Assembly to its owner's hand and create 5 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying. And it's a 5/5. Lots of cannon fodder for her to start shooting people. Kappa Cannoneer. It says improvise, so we can tap artifacts to help cast it. Ward 4 with a 4/4. Whenever it or another artifact enters the battlefield under our control, we put a 1/1 counter on Kappa Cannoneer, and it can't be blocked this turn. Memnarch, the cool version. This is a 4/5 artifact creature for 7 mana, but we can pay 1 and 2 blue to make something else become an artifact, and then pay 3 and a blue to gain control of it. So we can make other people's planeswalkers or lands artifacts, and then gain control of them and use them against them. It's honestly a fun strategy. Questionable card. Not sure if it's banned or not, but I've seen 2 different things on whether it is or whether it isn't, so it's in here for now. Sundering Titan is an 8-drop. When it enters the battlefield or leaves the battlefield, choose a land of each basic type, then destroy those lands. So we choose islands, forests, mountains. Whatever's helping our opponents out, we choose that and blow them all up. The Phyrexian Triniform. It's at 9/9. When it dies, create 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature tokens. It has Encore. So we can pay 12, and then we can, for each opponent, create a token copy of this that attacks each opponent if able. They gain haste, they get sacrificed at the beginning of the next end step. So if we have 3 opponents, and we Encore this, then they have 3. They each have 1 of these coming at them. Our end step comes, we sacrifice them, then we get 3 times 3 is 9, 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature tokens. And then we go to town. And Big Daddy number 1, the Darksteel Colossus from M10. 11/11 trample. It's indestructible. If it would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal it and shuffle it into its owner's library instead. Bam. Awesome card. And then we have here the Blightsteel Colossus. 11/11 trample infect. Also indestructible. And if it would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal it, shuffle it into its owner's library instead. We're never paying that full 12. Let me tell you. Never ever. One turn kill with this thing though. And then we have Metalwork Colossus. The spell cost X less to cast, where X is the total mana of non-creature artifacts you control. Sacrifice 2 artifacts, return this from our graveyard to our hand. And it's a 10/10. Now we'll go over some lands. We have our slew of basics, which is cool. And we have some artifact lands. We have the Silverbuff Bridge, Vault of Whispers, Mistfall Bridge, Rustvale Bridge, Great Furnace, Treasure Vault, Darksteel Citadel, Seat of the Synod, and that's it. That's all I got so far. Trying to get the rest of them. Then we have some temples, some tutors, Clifftop Retreat. This one makes us some Thopters if we need it. Command Tower, Godless Shrine, Blackleaf Cliffs, Flipland. Archer of Innovation is pretty cool. It has Improvise. This gives our next spell Improvise, which is cool. Clearwater Pathway, Memorial to Genius. We can sacrifice and draw 2 cards. Some more tutors, Raffine's Tower, and some check lands. Yeah, so that's it for our mana base. Check the deck list online for more details. And that's the deck. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, you're awesome, and I appreciate you. Please feel free to subscribe. I have tons of more decks coming. I just am really into Magic. Love making Commander decks. Love playing with my buddies. And yeah, it's a good time. This deck somehow, I'm not sure how, other than the fact it pumps out treasure tokens, always finds a way to do a thing before we either win or lose. A lot of people have, a lot of counters. And Breya, unfortunately, she gets killed on sight all the time. So that's why I put in a Forge. Even though it's 9 mana, I'm not going to spend that much mana to play that. No way, Jose. I'm cheap. But anyways, if you liked it, I'm glad. If you tried it out, if you built it yourself, and you played it, let me know how you did. And I'll see you next week. Until then, take care.